Hey there everyone, today we're building an outdoor living store from scratch using Wix, and I'll walk you through the whole process step by step. I'll show you the key features Wix has to offer and how to tweak them to fit your style. Even if you're not making a store though, maybe you're thinking of a new personal portfolio or a business site, these tips will still be super useful. I've kept things simple, so no matter your experience level, you won't feel lost. And if you haven't tried Wix yet, you can use the link in the description to check it out for free. Just a heads up though, if you want your site to go live, you will need a domain, which isn't free either. But that link will get you the best deal Wix offers, so it's definitely worth using. It also unlocks all the good stuff like accepting payments and getting rid of bandwidth limits. So with all of that being said, how about we dive into it? So when you log into Wix, you'll be greeted with this page, at which point all you do is click on Create New Site. Following this, it's going to ask you if you want the AI to help you make a site. However, that's why I'm here. So we're going to set this up without chat. And following this, it'll ask you what type of site you want to make. Now, this isn't necessarily important because you've got me to help you go through all of this with you. So just go down here and click on skip, at which point it's going to take a couple seconds, maybe to a minute, to just prepare everything for you. Once that's done, it's going to take you to the Wix dashboard, which is what we're on right now. And it looks overwhelming at first. However, I promise as we go along, you're going to become a lot more comfortable with things. But for now, just go to the top right and click on Design Site. So once you click on Design Site, it's going to ask again if you want to use AI or if you just want to choose a template and customize it yourself. And that's the one we're going to go with. Once you're on this page, you can narrow down what type of template you're looking for. Okay, so you can use these categories that are listed up front. If you can't find what you're looking for, you can use the search bar. Let's say I want to look for a coffee shop based template. There we go. We looked up for coffee and it's going to give us the entire catalog for coffee shop based templates. Now, if you want to see what these templates would look like in a practical sense, then just hover over one and click on view. This way you can get an idea of how it functions, what the buttons do, how it looks when you transition to different pages, and things of that nature. So this is a little sample for you guys. If you like it, then you can just click on it and go along with it. And for that, you can click on edit this site and then start making your own changes. You can apply your own content and so on. However, if you don't like the particular template, just click on back to templates. Now for this tutorial, what I want to do is I want to have a blank template and show you how to make an entire site in your own vision without any cookie cutter templates, because I personally like making it entirely mine. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to click on blank templates, and then you have a few options of which ones you want to go for. However, I just want to start from scratch and use this one. So all we have to do is click on edits, and then you're going to find yourself on the Wix editor. This is where the fun begins. So if you go to the left hand side, this is where you're going to find all of your tools, things like the elements for dragging text, buttons, images, so on and so forth. Beneath that is the sections. So these are pre-built layout blocks, which we'll use as we go along. Beneath that is the menus and pages where you manage your site structure. Following this, we have the site design for picking colors and fonts. And then beneath that is the app store, which we'll need later on to set up our shop. Following this is the My Business section. This is super useful if you're running a store or offering services. This includes things like a built-in chat box, order tracking, and customer management. Then there's the Media tab where all your pictures and uploads live. And then finally, we have the Content Manager, which lets you organize and edit dynamic content, but we won't dive into that one today. Up top, you can switch between a desktop and mobile layout. Another great thing about Wix is it does a solid job at adapting your design for mobile, but it's always worth double checking. And then if you go to the far right, you'll have the ability to save, preview, and publish your site when it's ready. Now, I want to show you one more thing before we get started. If you switch to desktop and hover over any section and go to the far right, you'll see this quick edit button. And what this does is that it gives you a fast overview of your site to make quick changes without clicking through everything. All right, so let's start with the basics, the menu. So for this, we have to, of course, head over to the Menu and Pages tab. And to make a page, very simple, just click on Add Page. And from here, we'll have a bunch of templates and presets like we did earlier on when we were selecting a template for our website. However, again, we're going to go with blank page. Following this, we have to name our menu item. So for this, I'm going to have above ground pools. I'm going to make a couple more menu items using the same process, and then we'll drag this menu into our header. Once your pages are set up, you can go back to the Elements tab, which is the first one up here, and scroll down to Menu and Anchor. So you have a lot of options here, but in this case, I'll just go with the simple one. So once you find one that you like, take it and then drag it into your preview and then place it in the middle. Now you'll notice that there's this orange outline here, and what that means is that this section is going to appear throughout your entire site, okay? And you can also do this for other elements as well. Say you want to have your social media handles on the side, or you have another menu you want to appear throughout your site. You can do that. I'll show you how to do that later on, but I just wanted to let you know about what this represents. Now you'll see these dots as well, or this dotted line rather, and that represents the mobile friendly boundaries. So if you go outside them, well, you're going to want to fix that later in the mobile view. With our menu in place, let's add a logo. So for this, we have to head to our media tab, and I recommend gathering all your photos into one folder before uploading it. It makes the process so much faster. So to transfer your photos, just click on that, take all of your items, and then put them into the Wix library. Once your pictures have been uploaded, click on your logo and then go down here to add to page. At which point, all you have to do is resize it and make it look neat. Now, we're not done with the menus quite yet because I want to explain how to add a footer menu, but also how to rearrange the organization of your menu. And the way you can do that is by clicking on it and then going to Manage Menu. And like I mentioned, you can just move them around as such. Now, I already like the way they were organized as is, so I'll leave it. However, we need to have a footer menu. Now, what I need you to do is to click on your menu again and go to Settings. Now, we need to set this as advanced because what this allows us to do is set up another menu without having crossover between all of these items in our header. So for this, let's click on Advanced once more, and I'll show you what I mean. But first, what I have to do is set up other menu items. And the first thing that I need to do is set up a frequently asked questions page and a couple more. So I'll be right with you. So the other pages that I added was an address link, terms of service, privacy policy, and contact us. So the next thing we need to do is to go back to our elements, find the menu and anchor, grab it, drag it, drop it, and then you'll find that all of the menu items are placed in our footer right now. So what we have to do from here is to we'll center it after we get rid of stuff. So we got to go back to settings, click on advanced, and then we'll have to just go to the right hand side and not remove, but hide the items that we don't want. So for example, we don't want to have the home menu item removed from menu or hide from menu. I can't distinguish apparently from those two. And then we go down to above ground pools, and then you just repeat this process until you remove all of the menu items that you don't want. Now that we have our footer structure ready, let's add some text. And in this case, what I want to do is add our address. So for this, let's go to our elements and head back up to the text tab, and then click on paragraphs and make our way down with our text box. So first we need to make this a little larger though. So to make any section larger, just drag it by this arrow or button rather. And to customize your text, you can edit the text to make changes. Now all of these changes are what you'd expect. You can change the color, the size, you can bold, italicize it, and then change the alignment. Now in this case, I do want to change the alignment. I already have text that I'm going to paste here. But there's a lot of elements that you can tweak as well as the effects. So you can have a shadow. Hold on. First, you need to highlight and then you'll see the changes. So you'll see how the shadow appears here. I don't personally like that. So we're going to not have any effects, but you can play around with it. It's all down to subjectivity. So I can go on for hours about how to customize and what works well with other combinations. But in this case, I'm going to customize my address and then we'll move on. We're not quite done with the footer menu though, because I want to space this menu out because, well, we're going to add some more information here. Down below, I'm going to add a map, which is going to take up a little more space. And then for the contact information, well, you guys already know how to add text, so I'll add that later, and then you'll see how that appears. As for the other menu items here, we're going to leave them as links, and later on in the video, we'll come back to those. But for the spacing, it's pretty simple. Just take it and then drag it to whatever lengths you want it to be. This is beyond the mobile layout boundaries, but again, this is a tutorial for the desktop version of Wix, and if you want to make adjustments for your mobile layout, you can do that afterwards. But in this case, we're going to keep it as such. We're going to place the address over here, and for our map, we got to go to Elements and then head down to Contact Forms, and you'll find the map under Google Maps. Take any one of these maps and place it over here and simply resize it. We are going to have to change the location on the map though. And the way we do that is by going to Manage Locations and then pasting or writing the correct location here. Enter, and then there you go. You'll see how it's changed. You can also change the title for this, but we'll leave it as is. And that's how you add a map. Now we've added some more space between the menu items. I'm going to add the other contact information, and then we'll move on to something different. Now I want to show you guys how you can add your social media and link it to Wix, as well as how to pin it to your homepage or any page on your site if you'd like to do that. So first off, we have to head back to our Elements tab and then go down to Social. And from Social, pick one of these social bars and drop it onto your site. Now to link your profile to Wix, you got to go to Social Links, and then select any of the ones that you want, for example, Facebook, then head down to what social page does this icon link to, and from here, you can add your own link. You can also open this up in a new window or have it open in the current window, but that's neither here nor there. What I like to do typically is I like to go to Layout and make this social icon vertical, and then I want to make it smaller because it can look a little distracting. So we'll do this by going to Layout and then changing the icon size, okay? Just so it's not in your face all the time. And lastly, we have to pin it. So we right click it and then we go to Pin to Screen. And here's where it actually matters where you place it. You can place it in the middle. I don't know why you do that, but personally, I like it to be at the bottom here. So when the customer is scrolling around, they'll see our social media, and it also saves some space in the footer so that we don't have to add a lot of information. So we try to be as efficient as we can be. And if we go to preview this, you'll see how this looks like from the customer's perspective. So it looks cleaner and a lot more efficient, as I said. Okay, now let's head over to the left-hand side again and click on Site Design. This is where we're going to find the design aspect of our store, such as the aesthetic, the fonts, backgrounds, things of that nature. So first up, we have our site theme. This is the default theme that comes with the site, and then we have a bunch of other featured themes. However, you're not limited to these themes. For example, if I were to go with the retro vibrant theme and then went back to site design, click on color theme, we have two different sets of colors. So this first color is the background, and then the second color is the text color. Down below is the accent colors. So this is for things like your buttons, all right? And then you can just change the colors by clicking on the palettes right here and messing around with it. Below our colors, we have the text theme. So we have heading text, which is like your menu items, and then paragraph text, which is the address here or the contact us information. Now, if you click on it, you can change the font from here and then change the paragraph font below that. Lastly, we have the page background, which is similar to the colors. You can just click on this, change the entire color background, or you can add a particular image like this, but we're not going to do that because it's a little too much. And then lastly, we have page transitions. So you can set up different transitions for when the customer is clicking on a different link on your site. So those are all the things you can do with your colors, fonts, and aesthetics. And so now let's get into adding contents. So let's head back to the top left and add a strip element. And it's going to be the fourth one down from the top. We'll take this strip and place it right into this block. Now, you can change the background first and foremost, which is what we're going to do in a minute. I just want to talk about these other settings. Now, the background scroll effects is as it sounds. You can change how it appears when you're scrolling past this section. The layout, this allows you to add more strips or columns. So if you want to have two pictures side by side or a text on the left side describing the image on the right, you can do that. We're going to use that, of course, but right now let's just keep it simple. The design, this is a little too advanced for the purposes of this tutorial because it goes into the specifics of the actual design. So we're not going to get into that right now. These shape dividers, it just changes the shape of your strip. So this allows you to have some more flexibility on how you want to design your site. So we're going to use that in a bit as well. And the stretched feature is just to change the width of this section. This is more something you would take into consideration for your mobile layout. So let's get into customizing. So let's change this background. And first off, we got to go to our library. Now to find our pictures, go to Site Files. And let me just find this picture that I want. There we go. And then go down and change the background. But don't think that is it for this picture because we have to add a shape divider. I saw one that I really like. Here we go, the paint scribble. Next is to add text that doesn't blend too much into the photo, that it's not noticeable, but isn't too obvious or obnoxious. Distracting is the best word. So for this, let me work my magic and let me show you how I do it. So we'll add an element and we'll take the heading text 1 and the text is going to be bring summer to your backyard. Now we need to change the font to, here it is, bring summer back to Amatic SC, but this has to be bold. Oh, hold on. Go to Amatic and then go to bold. Sometimes you have to highlight the actual text before it changes. Such is life. Now we will add another element to this, but I just want to make sure that we have the right parameters for this box. So go to edit text and head down to the color. And I'll make this, we'll make this blue. Oh no, we'll make this whites. And then we'll make the highlighted background blue, or should I do the inverse? Let's try it out. Let's see what works. No, that does not look better. All right, so we're going to stick with the original. We're going to add the blue background, white color, and then now we'll also change the size of the fonts. But then that is going to change the space we have. So we have to stretch this out, and that should be fine. Just make sure that we've actually centered it. There we go. So take a look at that in our preview. And that looks pretty nostalgic if you ask me. So below this, we have to add more sections. And now I'm going to give you an idea of my thought process throughout this whole thing, not just showing you how to do it, because you get the idea, you know where the tools are. A lot of this is just kind of applying the same rules and reusing the tools in various ways. But the most important thing is to know why you're putting something where it is. Now, below this, what I want to have is two sections. So one of them is going to be promoting a specific item, and then the other one is going to be a why buy with us. And the last one that I want to add is a what's new section. However, I'll do that after I add the rest of my products, or add my products in the first place once we get to that part of the tutorial. So first off, we need to add a section like this, and then head over to the media, drag the photo, and I won't bother too much about showing you how to perfect the image because, well, it takes time, and I'll save you some on that. To the right of this, what I have in mind is to take a header and place it right there. And let me just copy the text I have in my document here, place it right there, and then highlight all of this, make it smaller. And also I'm going to drop one more. I'll drop a paragraph block over there and do the process once more. And so you already know how this works. You know the drill. And now I'm going to repeat this 2 more times just so I can clean this up a bit. Now below this, I'm going to add one more thing, and it's going to just be what's in the box. Okay, so it'll have 4 columns, and we'll do it using the strip once more. Place it down here, maybe move it a little more. And instead of using the layout version of adding a column, you can also right click and then add a column that way. So we'll have 4. In this one, I will add the linear and frame. So of course we'll have to take another header and place it right there, paste it, and of course highlight it so that it actually changes color, and change the actual size itself. So there's a lot of stuff in here that I speed up for the sake of everybody's sanity. And then below this, I'll include a paragraph block. And so, yeah, this is the process. I'll redo 3 more times, and then you guys will see the final outcome. And so there you have it. I changed the colors up a little bit. I tweaked the font, but it looks a lot nicer and more streamlined. And if we go to preview it, you'll see that our site doesn't look too shabby. However, it is missing a crucial aspect, the products. So for the products, oh yeah, I'll also mention that I created a Why Shop With Us section just to throw in a little more content for our homepage. Now, for our store, we got to go to the Elements tab, because where else would it be, baby? And then make your way down to Store. Where is it? There it is. The Store tab, and then Add to Site, at which point it's just going to take a few moments to download. Once that's finished downloading, you'll see 2 new icons show up on your homepage, and that is this bag, which is actually the cart, and the login bar. Now we can get a better idea of how they function by clicking on the preview up here, and the bag/cart functions as you would imagine. And the login bar, we're not going to go into detail on this, but yes, you do have the freedom or the choice to add accounts to your site, and they can track account settings, my orders, and any other things you want them to have access to. But in this case, all I want to do with these 2 icons is to move them to the right, because I don't like them being all up in my menu like that. So to add our products, what we need to do is to head to the top left over here, and not that top left, head to the site's further top left, and then go down to My Dashboard. It's been a long day. And once you get to your dashboard, you're going to want to click on Catalog, or you can hover on it if you like, Store Products, and then go to Products. And from here, we can add either a digital or a physical product. I'll show you how to add both, but first let's cover the physical one. So once you click on New Product, it'll prompt you to choose which one. And of course, we're going with physical. So first things first, what we need to do is to add an image of our product. So we go into our library and find the photo that we want, and then go down here and add it to page. And below we have the title and the description. So I'll input my description right here. And what we can also do is we can use AI to generate our description for us if we'd like. So let me just add this title. We can use AI to generate our description by clicking on Generate AI Text. And right here, you input key information. You could also copy and paste your title and then place it down below to see what it comes up with. You might be satisfied with it. You might not be. So you can refine results and then tweak that even further. But in this case, we'll leave it human made. For the pricing, doesn't get much more complicated than that. You just input how much this costs. If you have a sale on an item, you check this and you put the discount amount and then the price after the discount. Cost of goods, this is essentially your profit margin. So I'm not going to go too much into this. For the product options, this is where you input specific information like the size, material, color. Say you have a limited edition book, then you'd click on add options and then say, okay, size. And then the size for my pool is 10 by 30. So I'll put that in down below. And then once I add this on the product page, it's going to show, okay, this is 10 by 30. I know I included it in the title, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how that works. And then lastly, tracking your inventory. You know how to do that. Just put whether or not you have it in stock, what the SKU is, and then the weights. All right. And if you want to track the inventory, click on this, put in your stock, and then repeat that process. And that's pretty much all that you really need to do when you're adding a product. Just go to the top after you're done and save. To add a digital product, go to add new product and then select the other option. The same fields will be visible, so I don't need to tread old ground. You have the title, the description, images, as well as pricing, so on and so forth. The only difference is that you can add a digital file up here. So click on upload file and you can choose any of these options. In my case, it's an audio file, and I'm going to go to my folder and drop this file into Wix, and it's just going to take a moment to process. And once it's uploaded, you just click on it the same way you would with an image, go down to add product, and once you fill out the rest of these fields, just go up here and save it. In the meantime, what I did was add the rest of my products. So now we can go and talk about what categories are. And the categories are just ways to organize your products into, well, categories. So for this, we can go to this plus button or new category. We'll do it the simplest way. Now, the first category is going to be titled above ground. All right, so it's going to be above ground, and the header description, not necessary. For the image, you can choose any image you want. I'll go with this one, for example. And down in the products category, this is where the magic happens. So all you have to do is click on add products and then choose all the products you want to add to this particular category. And once you're done, click add, save, and then repeat that process for any subsequent categories. So with that taken care of, let's head back to our website and click on the page up here, at which point we can see all of the pages that we have on our website. Now, you'll see if you go down to store pages, you'll have 5 extra pages that are added. And this is because we downloaded the store functionality or e-commerce plugin for our site. Now, the product page just shows you the product and the description that you added, as well as the variety and so on and so forth. Now, what I really want to get into is the category page, because the category page shows you all of the products that you have added. And right here, you'll see all the things that I included. However, there are things that we need to tweak, and there's a lot of settings that go into this. So I'll keep it streamlined so that you're not overwhelmed. Now, what we need to do to customize things is click on the categories and then head to settings. And the first tab that you need to go to is to layout. And in layout, head to header section. So I'll just tell you what I typically do is I put the header position at the top so that there's none of the stuff on the left-hand side. It just cleans it up a bit. And then down in the category info placement, I like to all compact it into one. It makes it look neater. That's my goal, to save space and make it look efficient. The category info alignment, well, that is just where the information is gonna be placed on this banner. As for the rest of this, it's not necessarily important for this video, but we're gonna go back to layout and then head down to product images, because the images right here, they don't actually fit the thumbnail. And so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna click on fit from image resizing, and then it's gonna crop it properly. And for the image ratio, I go on 4:3. It's big enough, but not too obnoxious in terms of how large it is. And that's pretty much it. You can make it larger. You can change the positioning and size, so on and so forth if you'd like. However, in terms of the settings that I want to touch upon in this video, that's pretty much it when it comes to the category page. Perhaps one more thing that you need to know is that you can change what appears on the category page. So you can remove the images, you could remove the description. Personally, if you don't want the image, then I totally understand. You can get rid of it. But in this case, I'll leave it. And you can also change the information that is shown on your product card. So maybe you don't want the product name. So these are the things that you can do. But what I really want to get into now is adding our catalog into that little area I was discussing earlier on in the video. So for that, let's head back to the top left and click on home page. So right here, we're going to add a section, and then we'll go to the elements tab, of course, as per usual, and head down to store. And from the store tab, we're going to find the slider product gallery, take it, drag it, and drop it. Now, the first thing that we need to do is I want to show you how to change the category that is displayed. So settings, and then the first thing you'll see is the products. Now, if you head down to which category to display, you'll find all products and just click on whichever one you want, and then it's going to subsequently update. I do want to have all of the products listed, so we'll keep it as that. Then make your way down to layout because I want to expand this to the full width of the page. And to do so, head to General and click on Stretch to Full Width. Now, this is taking its kind time to update, so we'll see where that takes us. Now, go down to Product Grid, and you'll see how the images are very large. So to fix that, you can change how many products are shown, which helps, or you can go down to Responsive and fit it to screen. Now, I don't like that there's that many products, but once we go to the other setting, we can change the sizing of the photos as well. So you can change the width of the product. And then if you go back to here and click on product images, you can change the image size. So right now it's uncropped. I don't like that. So we'll go to fit. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you can change the image ratio. Now, I'm not quite sure why this still hasn't updated. Maybe I have to change it to another category to let it know what's going on. All right, so there we go. It works. I was just kind of confused as to why it wasn't cooperating. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention is the display. Now, I already talked about this in the category page, but yeah, you can still change what shows up on your product cards, but I won't go into too much detail on that because there's a lot of stuff and it's relatively subjective. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is how you can start accepting payments and a few other details that you need to know before you can launch your site. Now, for us to do that, let's head back to the categories up here, and we have to go to the bottom of our dashboard and find settings. The first option will say finance and payments. So we click on accept payments. Now, depending on where you live, you might have more, you might have fewer, but what we need is the Wix payments. So right here, go to the right-hand side and click on connect. And then you choose yes or no, depending on if you sell any of these products. Now, I'm going to go with no, I do not. Accept and continue, at which point you choose which one of these you want to use as your payment method for your store. So in this case, I'll choose all of them. After you continue, and then what you'll have to do is you're going to have to fill out a form. Now, I can't fill it out right now because I already have my own information linked to another website. But regardless, once you complete your setup and get a subscription to Wix Payments, then Wix is going to go through the process of validating your bank accounts to make sure that you can actually start accepting payments and that there are no issues. Now, the process is very self-explanatory. You just fill in the form, and then once you're done with that, then Wix is going to email you to let you know, all right, you're good to go. Then I want you guys to head back to your settings page and go down to shipping, delivery, and fulfillment. Here you're going to see two shipping regions, the domestic and then international. What we want is to set up a third one. So we go up to create region, and then we title it something like NA. We'll add destinations so we can search it up. I'll go with Canada. And then the next one is United States. All right. And the great thing about Wix is that we can choose which provinces or territories or states to ship to. So we just click on edit, and then we can deselect all of them and choose which particular ones we want to add, but we'll select all of them in this case. And same goes for Canada. Once you're done with that, click on next, and then you determine the shipping rate, whether or not you want it to be global, or you want to have local delivery only, or pickup rates. You can change these rates later on, but in this case, we'll go to shipping, and you choose which rate you want. So you can have it be free, a flat rate for every item. You can have the rate by the weight, and then the price. So depending on how expensive something is, the shipping rate can be different. And then rates by how many items someone ordered. You can make that higher, lower, whatever you choose. But in this case, we'll go with a flat rate. Here, we'll just put in title. I'll just write something random. And below this, we choose the actual rate. So we'll have a checkout rate of $5, save, and then you can customize this even further by going to add rates and then adding various rates. But yes, that is how you create different shipping regions, as well as how you edit your shipping rates. Now, we have two more things to cover, and that is tax and policies, but I promise tax is not hard at all. So for tax, let's go and dig into it. If you upgrade to Wix Premium, you can use Avara, which determines your tax immediately based on where you're selling and so on. So it saves you a lot of time. However, it's not saving you too much time, because all you have to do, if you want to do it manually, is go down to tax locations, add a location, and add wherever you're selling from or to. Go there, choose the regions. So we can choose all of the states or a few of the states, which I'll do. I'll choose 3 of them for the sake of simplicity. And once that is done, you click on a state, and then you choose what the product tax is going to be. So we'll go 5, and then we'll go 10. And that's pretty much it. You just save it. The great thing about Avara, though, is that it constantly updates, so you don't have to go into it yourself all the time. However, it's not hard, as you can tell. It just requires an understanding of the taxes. And last but not least are those policies. Now, the policies are in the checkout tab, so we'll cover how you can change your checkout form and edit this. So for that, just click on edit, and then it'll take you to another page where you'll see the form itself. Now, if you want to add things, you can go to create field and then include extra things such as an email, let's say, and then you'll see how it's added to the form. Now, I recommend customizing this to your own liking, just for the purposes of like advertising as well. You can get someone's email or number and give them updates. So for now, let's go back to checkout settings. Below this are the policies. So we have our terms, privacy, return, and all of that jazz. Now for this, these are the checkout policies. So these aren't the same policies that I was adding to my footer. These show up at the bottom of the checkout page. Now what I like to do is I like to add them here, and then I copy and paste it to my policy pages on the footer. So that's how you would customize your policy for your footer. Now, for the rest of them, you just fill in the necessary information, and then once that's done, this will immediately be added to your checkout page. However, what I recommend is clicking on policy agreement checkbox and making sure that the customers have agreed to your policies. I know nobody reads it, but it's a little insurance for yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about when it comes to policies and filling out or editing your checkout form. Now, earlier on in the video, I made these menu items, but I didn't really get back to them. And the reason for that is that I was waiting to add all of my products. So what we're about to do is very similar to what we did with the category page. With the category page, all of our products were there, and then we just tweaked them with some of our own edits. In this case, we have even more freedom, because if we choose the above ground pools, you'll see that there's nothing there. So what we need to do is add the products to this page. So go to your store, take the grid product gallery, place it right here, and then you can add all the extra stuff that we saw, such as a banner and then the filters on the left and so on and so forth. What I want to do now is I want to choose a category that I want placed on this page, and then we select which one we want from this list, and then it's going to refresh, and that's pretty much all you have to do. Now, it'd be really great if it refreshed right away so I could stop talking, but I'll give it a minute and then I'll show you guys. All right, so there you go. The above ground pool category has updated and it's been applied to the store. And from here, you can use the same methods that I used earlier on in the video to edit this stuff. Now you just don't have the presets, but that's even better because you can make it even more personalized. The last thing that's left to do is to publish your store by going to the top right and clicking on publish. And there you go, your store is live. However, if you do plan on selling things, guys, I highly recommend upgrading to Wix Premium so that you can start accepting payments and receiving orders, and so that you can have a custom domain name. Otherwise, it's going to look very amateurish. If you don't plan on selling things and want to use this site as a personal portfolio or something that doesn't require commercial purposes, then that's fine. But if you do plan on selling services and products, then yeah, again, definitely upgrade. And there's a 50% discount, so this is the best time to buy. And that just about wraps up today's video, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any further questions for me, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to let me know that you want more videos of this sort. And again, yeah, check out the description below for the best possible deals on Wix. At any rate though, thank you all so much for watching as always, and until next time, make sure to take care.